you don't know what your goals are, if you don't know where you see yourself in the next 10 or 15 years, you're just going to make financial decisions haphazardly without any direction and end up wherever and make do with that. Hey you guys, welcome back to another video and thank you for joining me yet again. If it is your first time here, and on this channel we chat about all things related to managing your money and adulting in general. So if that sounds like your type of vibe, please check out our other content, and if you like what you see and hear, don't hesitate to smash the subscribe button and become a part of the team. Today I am doing a very impromptu video. So I literally just finished recording last week's video for you guys, and I was just thinking that in the videos that I've made this year, in a few of them I've mentioned The Psychology of Money, which is the book that I read in the beginning of the year, right? I keep mentioning this book to you guys, that the book that I read said this and blah 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 blah. And I was just looking at it on my desk now, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just sit down and just discuss once and for all of the things that I took out of reading this book, because it does come up in quite a lot of my conversations. And that's honestly because a lot of the things that I read resonated with my money beliefs and my money values and the way that I view the way that I view money. In fact, one of the reasons why I speak about money so much and I decided to study something in the finance industry is because I really believe that if people knew better and if people understood themselves and their backgrounds and their money and opportunities better, they'd make better informed decisions. And that's why I dedicate myself toward these conversations and to having them and to sharing education and information and all of that stuff. Okay, enough about that. I did write a few points down just to direct me so that I don't ramble, because I usually prepare, but with this I was like, you know what, let me just record this video, let me talk about this book that has so many things that I resonate with, and let me tell you guys some of the things that I took out of the book. Please do buy it if you can and have a read, or you can get me to 2,000 subscribers before the end of March, and then I'll buy the book and give away a copy or a few copies. So yeah, that's also an option. Anyway, guys, so let's talk about the lessons that I got from The Psychology of Money. The first thing is the fact that it's not entirely your fault. Okay, let's say that again. It's not entirely your fault. Often we think or we believe that we are bad at money because of us and the decisions that we make, and it's all our fault, and if we just did better, we would be further ahead and all of those things. But he really opens up the book by saying that no one is insane and nobody's crazy. What we think and feel about money is actually a combination of our backgrounds, our beliefs, the way that our parents handled money, our circles, our environment, and all of those things. They influence indirectly how we end up handling money. And if a lot of you think about the things that your mom did and the things that your mom didn't do in front of you where money was concerned, you honestly find that you adopted a lot of those habits. Now, fortunately for some of us, those were good habits, but unfortunately for some, they were bad habits, but we still picked up on them anyway. Look at the things that the kids do and mimic unknowingly, right? If you have children, that's the same things that we did around money. The anxieties we have, the way that we panic, and all of those things are honestly sometimes due to the environment, due to the circles, due to the conversations or lack thereof that were had in our backgrounds that have led us to where we are now. So it's important to understand that it's not entirely your fault. Yes, you can control some things, but some things are almost like beyond your control. It doesn't mean you can't solve for them, but you shouldn't hit yourself, or blame yourself for every single thing. And you should understand that some of your actions or your the way that you react in certain financial circumstances or situations are not your fault. And for me, that is something that I've believed even before reading the book. And I'm so glad that this is the way that he actually opened up the entire conversation. The second thing that I took out of the book is the fact that life happens. Life happens, guys, and it happens to the best of us. And what he speaks about and highlights is the fact that I'm referring to Morgan Housel, by the way. That's the author of this book. When I say he, something that he highlights when saying that life happens is the fact that often you are successful not because you plan for the things that are, I'm paraphrasing here. Often you're successful not because you're able to plan for the things that do happen, but because you're able to equip yourself and plan for the things that you did not expect to happen. So you need to have a plan for the plans that don't go according to plan, right? A bit of a tongue twister, but what he's saying is that everybody pretends like life goes in the step by step trajectory, and you know what's happening and what's going to happen. But the reality is, it's not the things that we anticipate that trip us, it's the things that we don't expect. And again, I've made a video just about this early last year. Those are the things that trip us, the things that we don't expect, the emergencies, the things not going according to plan, being retrenched, getting a pay cut, having to suddenly move out of your area because of safety reasons. All of those things are the things that take us out of the journey that we were on. And those, in fact, are the things that we need to put our focus on and plan for. So the best thing that you can do for yourself where money is concerned is actually to plan for the unexpected. And if you are equipped for the unexpected, my gosh, when you start working for those goals, it's going to go so much more smoothly, because you're not going to have to take 10 steps back when your geyser bursts, when your child is sick, when you are retrenched or have a pay cut, because you've already anticipated that life does happen and you've planned accordingly for those type of things. The third thing is, this is one of my favorite ones, guys. The third thing is, this wealth game does not have to be complicated. It really does not have to be complicated. And I say this as someone who works in the finance industry, who's had multiple conversations with wealthy people, non-wealthy people, people on that journey, people still in denial about the journey, and so on and so on. And there is so much information out there about wealth, like investments, cryptocurrency, financial markets, shares, investing, ETFs, long-term tax-free. It can get very, very overwhelming. And something that he brings across in the book is that it doesn't have to be that complicated. You could honestly have your little plan that you have, saving for emergencies, making sure you're adequately insured and covered. And you could have those few simple goals that you have, one of them being wanting to be financially free, and you can consistently work towards that. And it's okay. It's okay if you don't have 10 different investment accounts. It's okay if you are not, into investment property like everybody else is and their friend. It's okay if you don't, necessarily want to, travel abroad once a year to feel like you're accomplished or you've made it. If you don't necessarily need to have name brands or like luxury items to feel like, you're at a certain point in your life. It doesn't have to be complicated, even the way that you invest. So for example, he talks about the fact that he saves quite a lot of money in cash, right? And his friends, especially in the industry that he's in, because he is in the finance industry, sometimes say, you've got too much cash on your hands, man. You could be putting this in this investment, that global investment, that. And he says, I'm fine. I save because I really want to have enough liquidity to fund the things that I want to do, to help out family when they're in need or whatever that is. And yes, I may not have 2 investment properties, but I have enough money to, pay myself a salary and not have to work for a specific amount of time. And that for him is okay, right? I'm making an example. And for me, like, this was so comforting, because I am one of those people who doesn't have a complicated financial plan. I honestly don't. And I'm not fascinated by the latest craze of investments or like having multiple properties and I have enough and I've got a plan, but my idea of financial freedom is quite different, from others, and that's okay. And I'm also not chasing every new thing that comes out in the finance world to feel like I'm on the ball and I'm on my way to financial health. I have a simple plan and I stick to it. And when he shares in the last chapter what his plan is, my plan is so similar to his, it's not even funny. And I could totally relate with the simplicity and the compactness of his plan. How he invests his money is the same way I invest my money. The things that are important to him and what he's chosen to prioritize is very similar to mine as well. So the third lesson is that it doesn't have to be complicated, and you could still be wealthy without having 5,000 things going on in your financial plan. The next thing is the part that is played by luck when it comes to becoming financially wealthy and being in a specific financial position. Guys, you can do everything by the book all your life, and then at some point in your life, for some unfortunate reason, something happens to you specifically, and all of that work is undone and it spirals out of control. You could be, in the wrong investment at the wrong time, or in fact, you could be in the right investment at the wrong time, and vice versa. And all of what you've worked for could be erased, or most of what you've worked for could be erased. That's what he's trying to say, is that we must be honest about the fact that sometimes you're just not lucky. And the other individual is. Sometimes you are lucky and the other individual is not. And let's not be blind to the fact that, sometimes you do everything by the book and things just don't happen. And don't feel disheartened, or don't feel like it's your fault all the time, or don't feel like, you are to blame, because sometimes the universe works the way the universe works and you're at the right time in the right place. And the example he uses with this is actually some of the very wealthy individuals and the prominent individuals that we are aware of in society right now who have a lot of money. And he explains to us how they were at the right place at the right time. And had they not been in that school at that point in time, they wouldn't have been who they are today. So them being in that environment, in that school with that teacher, played a part, right? And had things happened in another way, and that's not something that they engineered or controlled themselves, being in that specific classroom, but it so happened by luck that they were there. And we need to understand the role that is played like this. Again, it doesn't mean that all things will happen to you and you can't control anything, but it does mean that, again, back to the first point, it's not always your fault. Sometimes you're at the right place at the right time. Sometimes you're at the wrong place at the wrong time. The sense is, what do we do about that, and how do we stop beating ourselves up? And it's the same thing with investments. Some people got really lucky. They invested in a company with no fundamental knowledge, either than that company looks good, and boom, it skyrocketed and they made millions out of that investment, and then use those millions to find other endeavors. Some people heard that a company was great and the place to go, blah, 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 and then boom, it plummeted, right? Like another company that I've spoken of that just tanked after it had been reviewed as such a great company, and blah, 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 blah. So luck does play a part. Being at the right place, entering a position, at the right time, those factors do play a part, and I think we need to acknowledge them. Number 5 is, it's really important to clearly envision what you would like your money to do for you. And very important emphasis on you and your vision. There is nothing that is as sad as waking up every single morning and going to work and grinding, and you have no sense of success. You have no sense of what it is that you would like to achieve and how you'll know when you get there, because you haven't clearly defined what that success looks like in your head. And what I've noticed is that when you don't have that picture, every picture that's drawn out there looks like your definition of success. So when you see vacations, you're like, yeah. Vacations are the epitome of success. And then you see cars and you're like, yeah, cars. And then you see houses, people buying houses, and you're like, yeah, a house. And then it gets very confusing, guys, and then you don't know where you're going. And as a result, you're not able to align your financial decisions towards that point. A financial plan of someone who wants to travel the world versus a financial plan of someone who wants, stability and comfort and all of that stuff can look different because their goals are different. If you don't know what your goals are, if you don't know where you see yourself in the next 10 or 15 years, you're just going to make financial decisions haphazardly without any direction and end up wherever and make do with that. But if you have an end goal of, okay, this is what I want, right? Then you'll be able to say, okay, this is what I need to do in order to get what I want. And then this is what I can't do because it's going to deter me from where I'm trying to go or what I'm trying to achieve. So having a clear idea of where you would like to go and where you see yourself is very important. The last thing that I took out of this book, which was interesting for me, is that for many of us, the financial freedom goal is defined, the same. I think a lot of us, and I'm not saying everyone, just want to reach a point in our lives where we do what we want to do every single day, and that it is that simple. A lot of us who are on this financial freedom, financial journey, really just want to get up to a point where we've accumulated enough assets that give us a passive income to a point where we are not dependent on a single source of income to fund our expenses, and therefore we are able to do what we love. And that for me is beautiful, because it means that we are essentially all working towards the same goalpost. And even when I share and have these financial conversations, most of us really just want to live our best lives. We really just want to be happy doing what we love. And yes, those things are different. For you, it may be traveling. For me, it may be writing my book, in my garden. For me, it may be growing a garden that, self-sustains me and my family. For me, it may be comfort. For you, it may be luxury. It really doesn't matter. But I think we all are heading towards the same goalpost. We all just want to do what we love every single day without worrying about money. And that for me is comforting, because it means that we're all rallying towards the same cause. We're all walking towards the same goalpost. And for that reason, we should honestly be having more of these conversations. We should be sharing more of these lessons to make sure that each and every one of us in the team are well equipped to reach their goals, whatever it looks like. But it looks like the overriding theme is exactly the same. So guys, those are some of the things that I picked up in this book, which is really goes down as one of my faves that I've read this year. And I really hope that you're able to learn something from it, or you are motivated to also purchase a copy. I really guarantee that if you read this book and you finish it, what I love about it, by the way, I'm going to close this video, but one of the things I love about it is the fact that it's broken up into 20 chapters. It's 20, I think it's 20. It's broken up into 20 chapters, and each chapter teaches you a different lesson. And he said that he did that intentionally because he wants that even if you don't finish the book, because you're not an avid reader, you still at least get 5 full lessons, as opposed to building up to one ultimate lesson, if that makes sense. Which I think is, like, when I write a book one day, I feel like I'm going to take that tip because it makes so much sense. So that even if a person doesn't finish the book but reads a quarter of the book, they still walk away with something solid. So yeah guys, so the psychology of money is something that I'm really into, and it's also influenced what I'm going to be speaking about at an event in May. I'm going to link the details in the description box, but I will be speaking about financial trauma at an event in May, and I would really like to meet some of you guys there. So if you made it at the end of the video, please make sure that you check out the details of that event. Come join me. Let's have open and honest conversations about how the psychology of money works. What are some of the things that we need to be aware of? Because I think it's super important for us to understand the root causes and the background before we start to solve. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, give the video a thumbs up, and please make sure that if you haven't done so, you do consider subscribing to our channel so I can see you in other videos. Bye.